Hey, what's up, guys? Got another deck list for you today. Of course, I was thinking about something. I know Orange Dabura is something that people have definitely been playing. Um, Adept Dabura is usually what I've seen. I was thinking along the lines of how Beats was good with Retribution, and so I kind of figured why not try that with Energetic. Energetic loaded with some anger. I figured it could kind of maybe give you a backup win condition as Dabura. Um, on top of the fact that Adept really just doesn't give you a whole lot. I think actually like starting out with like possession drill sounds way better than like having to try to tutor an attack drill, modifier drill right off the bat. You still have the same drill support that you would have. With the card pool, you're just losing that like one drill surge a turn, and I figured you're already getting the +1 anyway, drill wise. Not to mention you get some hand filtering, potential stage gain for things like your dashing swords and whatnot, and not to mention the fact that you just have it does give you a little anger control, and you do get some of the discard outlets for some of the new cards. And so I figured that maybe this would be a little bit better, it gives you a little more versatility. Um, so we'll break down the list here. Uh, I'm not necessarily sure this is better than Adept. I mean, ultimately, Adept is going to be able to like 2, 3 combats. It's going to be able to kick out a bunch of your drills. Adept's probably going to be a little more emphasized on really just kicking the drills out. That is one thing that this list was a little bit more drill searchy, but then I ended up, because of spacing and wanted to run other cards, I dropped some of the drill searchers down quite a bit. There's also some interesting card choices in here. I've only played one game on this deck so far. It was kind of a blowout. It was just kind of came down to my opponent didn't. Me and my opponent passed for a bit. I set up a couple drills. He set up some board. He was an alley deck. I ended up tutoring Orange Sword Break to my hand. I just went off on him, and he drew kind of a dead. He drew a pretty much a dead hand, and I braked him, and I was able to pretty much take him out almost that turn. Um, but we'll go into some of the weaknesses and strengths of this. So you start off with the orange, of course, energetic mastery. Of course, for those that don't know it, it gives those give you the hand filter. Starts you off with a non-constant drill, much like Retribution did. It potentially has 2 anger on the mastery, a combat, so it's going to help you slime up to 2. With Orange Devore, level 2 is really not that great though. All the orange cards in same, all the orange sword cards are all banished after use. So that's going to be something that you want to keep in mind when you're taking damage. You're going to want your opponent to actually damage you. And with that in mind, we want them to life card damage, not so much stage damage. We also want to be able to have defenses against things like Black Defensive Burst. Ultimately, this deck is pretty fragile, but black has pretty much the worst board hate ever. So against like a black deck, you're going to probably want to start off with the orange burning ore drill as your first drill, just to make sure you don't get debursted. Um, but aggressive sword drill courses are only 3 of drill. We're just trying to get that out as quick as possible. We're trying to get the setup. Um, I could see this card actually going down to 2, maybe not a 1, but for sure 2. Like it's just the biggest. I mean, it's still good. It's still good to run at 3. I mean, if you this is going to be a Deborah that you're going to be passing more likely the first turn or two, and not necessarily going all in guns blazing. But we don't need to because of the amount of hand advantage you can generate in the effects of the orange drills. Like I said, burning ore drill is going to be really key in certain matchups. In the physical mirror, it's going to be very important. It's probably the one that I would pick most time. Um, the only other drill that we can grab at the beginning of the game is going to be possession drill, and you're going to grab this against anything that isn't physical aggro. I thought about running steady. Ultimately, I just said screw it. I kind of need a pile to be able to use a lot of my cards. So taking some energies, they're going to be draining their stages. You're pushing purely stage damage in this deck. There's no reason, like, it's just kind of like you're going to accelerate your game plan quick. Not to mention, possession drill can be really good against the slower decks. It helps you be a little bit more aggressive, filter the drills out of your hand, etc., etc. Um, we get into the drills, other drills. So I did have disaster drill in initially. We played the one game with it. Granted, I didn't tutor it out at all, but there's such a high amount of non-style attacks in here. I only have joint restraint. I had disaster in. I cut it. I wanted to make some more room for some of the cards. I could see disaster going back in. I do run a lot of styled physical attacks, but ultimately it's going to be kind of dead at times, especially with certain hands. Um, and I'm never going to prioritize tutoring it, most likely. You get enough anger. You don't necessarily want to leave level 1 with this deck because you're going to lose your drills. And I was actually considering running Conference Drill for that reason, um, but I ended up not wanting to make the space for it. Again, it's just a card. I'd have to be running Drill Tutors for it to matter. I do have ways to get my drills back, which I'll go over. We move on to the next drills, of course, investigation and examination drill. Both these drills have, when entering play effects, we do have ways to bump these into play between um, well, we'll get into the cards that can bump these in play, but mostly here to protect your anger, get rid of attached cards is going to be really helpful, and then of course killing allies and giving yourself extra hit lowering. With this card out, a lot of the attacks that I run are hit effect attacks, and so they'll be able to give us extra anger control, which will be very, very helpful. Freezing drill, of course, we're running. If I was Adept Dabura, I'd be running this at 2. Um, This is going to be, you're going to be using this card sparingly on the right matchup. Again, this is for those really defensive decks. They're running a lot of blocks, board blocks mostly, or if you know your opponent's time, it's there. This is going to be a card that you're going to really want to covet. Make sure to keep it in your deck for when you need it, for when you think your opponent's time is a Warrior's Tool or something else. But this can completely switch and change games for you. Like some possession drill we don't need to go over. Again, just this will help you kind of get going, filter hands more. On top of the mastery, you're going to be just pitching, always having live cards in your hand. Ideally, if you do draw dead, you just drop them out for this to get some extra anger potentially, some stages. Checkup drill, of course, is checkup drill, so stable. So that's the drill lineup. 7 style drills, 3 non-style, so 10 dead cards essentially. 7 of which can be pitchable to the mastery. Not to mention the aggressive sword drill can be pitched with devilish sword strike. So we'll get into the attack line. So actually, we'll start with the event line. So 3 stare down. We want to maximize enters really, really well. You can build up so much advantage, especially when you can start clearing out times Warriors tools and big chain cards and blocks and stuff like Vegito's effortless defense. Taking those out with stare down is going to be huge. And then you can just play the combat out from there. Orange Excavation and Orange Inspection. So you'll notice when we get to attack line, we don't run Orange Stare Down. Inspection was a card that I just added now. But Orange Excavation and Orange Inspection have good synergy with this deck, both of which, for multiple reasons, Excavation helps you put your drills back in should you get off level 1, which is going to be really, really helpful. Help us be able to search them back out or just see them again. Not to mention it does draw you cards. It's a chainable card draw, same as Inspection. Inspection lets us, kill a board card and then draw cards. So they're replacing themselves with some utility. Ultimately, we're just trying to be able to draw some. We're going to be trying to draw a good amount of cards, at least a couple of cards, when we go into combat, at least 1 or 2. Not to mention the fact that these are giving some soft utility. We have Time as a Warrior's Tool and Orange Juke. Again, overall 7 styled events, which are all tutorable with Orange Sword Chop. Overwhelming Power is definitely one that I would consider right now. I think I might actually throw it in over 1 Inspection and just throw Overwhelming Power in. I like them both for different reasons. Overwhelming Power, of course, when you tutor it to your hand with a Sword Chop, you get a crit, which is going to be really, really nice. It's a consideration. I think Inspection's still just kind of maybe better, but Overwhelming Power can potentially kill 2 board cards against the right deck. We are primarily stage beats, but with a lot of the high power level MPs that are out, Overwhelming Power is kind of less and less appealing to me for a lot of decks. Like I said, Orange Juke is another tutorable block. Should I need a block, it helps me pull my drills out of my pile. So it's my main ways to get my drills back are Excavation and Juke, but I also have another attack or 2 that does grab drills. Orange Flea's in here at 2 and Sidestep are at 3. These are our only blocks, so block line's really light. Trying to maximize on attacks. Even running to Inspection here, this might not stay. I'm mostly only running this for the Sword Chop utility. But Flee and Sidestep are going to be huge if you need them. Sidestep, ideally, again, like you're going to have to really pick when you're going to be playing this. Luckily, it's not banished after use, so you can maybe check up drill it, which is always good. But biggest thing is we're going to be using this for the mastery. So you get some extra attack in combat, potentially some extra anger, and then draw a card. So a big thing with this deck is going to be setting up at the bottom of your pile quite a bit. Really watching your early discards for Orange Sidesteps and Orange Excavations. These are 2 cards that are going to come in really handy for later game. So another thing is Orange Flea. I don't run at 2. I don't. I run a good amount of styled physical attacks, and what is really nice is that this is your next styled physical attack. It doesn't say next action, so you can, bait out blocks with other cards, or you can use it to bait blocks out with other cards. It really puts your opponent at bind when you're running this with Dabura, because now they have to choose between, taking potentially, double styled attack, or they're going to be taking like your dashing sword or your demonic slashes as hits. Really plays your opponent's mind, but only at two. Stage pressure. Um, that's really it. It's otherwise it's dead, and we're trying to beat the matchup that actually you'd be using this the most against. So this is a good card, which is why it's at two, and actually in the deck at all. We get to the block line. It's pretty loaded for the most part. Like I said, fair amount of the deck is actually spent on the board and the blocks. I mean, there's, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 cards plus 10. So 26 cards aren't attacks, but 3 are stare downs. So really, I say 23. And then of all these, 19 are pitchable. And time's like never dead. So and again, this card can automatically draw you cards, so that's good. And then this one can draw you a card potentially. This one draws you a card with mastery, so there's a lot of utility in these. Maybe pitching the drills to the pile to get them back with another effect, like juke or excavation to just bring them back in. All sorts of things. But the attack line, of course, Devour's name cards. I'm running through this really fast, but of course, pretty much no need to tell you. Demonic Slash, Spit, use your board clear, extra board clear, on top of inspection. Demonic Slash, of course, Dashing Sword are going to be your comboing. They're honestly the better one in the deck is Demonic Slash. All of Orange's sword cards are banished after use, unfortunately. So you're going to be using Spit a lot. So again, it's kind of like you're going to have to know when to drop these in your pile on passes and be careful about your pile. That's my one gripe with this deck is that Dashing Sword honestly sucks in this deck because like the only thing you can reliably loop is Spit. Um, but all you need is these like to go off once, and all you get to use this is once. So it's just something to consider when you're playing this deck. It's just another reason why we're running light on energy blocks. We kind of want to take some life cards to make this live. Um, Sword Strike again, bread and butter, so help give us a little bit more hand filter. Again, we're going to be filtering the hand with Mastery, Possession Drill, Sword Strike, drawing other cards, etc., etc. So it's going to be really nice with some anti-anger built in as well. So again, the freestyles are helping us out with the anger game. Sword Chop. Again, this tutors blocks, tutors board clear, tutors stuff to recover my drills. Really, really good. And then this card can win games here. Sword Break. You play this against an ally deck, you just completely turn off all their allies to combat. They can't do anything. So this is the one where you're going to go for the kill against an ally deck. If you enter like this and stare down to make sure they don't have time or something, or big board block, um, and if allies are still an issue, I mean, at least you can stop the block allies with Freezing Beam. Freezing Drill. But again, both are sword cards that are styled, banish after use. So keep that in mind. You're going to be kind of on a time clock here. But we still do have the pretty solid line of orange physicals. Beatdown is going to be your main way to recover your drills and keep them going. Especially if you see yourself flying in levels, really make sure that you sequence this card properly to keep your drills going. If you can keep your drills on 2, you're going to be super solid. So, Orange Knee Strike is anti-anger, of course, and a big AT5. So both really good. Bite Kick, again, utility. This is going to help you proc Exam Drill, Checkup Drill, and Investigation Drill. So really good. And then Orange Collision, again, more ways to get your drills out of the pile. Big Endurance, that's really what it's in here for. And then Stretch, I had this at 3, cut down to 2 for space. Honestly, I don't know how often we're going to be discarding. I mean, we do have a fair amount of discard outlets. Ideally, you're going to get a good enough hand where you're not going to necessarily be pitching. I would like to run this at 3. This card is a big part of why I wanted to run Energetic, but right now it's at 2 because there's other cards that are better slots. But I could see running it at 3 over, say, I don't know, maybe Beatdown or Collision, but it's like this freestyle, this top lineup is like what you gotta pretty much run. Extension at 2. Again, I want a little bit of drill grab from the deck in case I want to proc one of those search effects. So, but not a card that I want to see all the time. Maybe this card needs to be at 3. I had Fierce Punch in here initially, couldn't justify the hit effect search. Just didn't seem right to me. but it's pretty tight on room. Card slots I could definitely play around with are these events, but I want something to work for sword chop, so you got to run something for it. I could just run excavation, but I don't think that's quite enough. I needed some more board clear in my mind, so inspection was a good choice over orange stare down because I can tutor this, and it's not a stage cost. Um, Ultimately, uh, definitely see some clunky hands with this build, especially with the high amount of drills that we're running. Biggest thing is aggressive sword drill being so high, and then you getting enter on drawing it sucks because you don't have a way to pitch out of your hand. But every Dabura pretty much has that issue. So things to consider. Ultimately, level one's where you really want to be. You don't want to go to two all that often in this deck unless you've been taking a beat down. But it's another thing to consider. Like you kind of play this like almost like in a making knowledge piccolo where you have to really pick and choose when you're going to take damage from people, life card wise. And again, you have enough blocks that like you're not completely on you know in the wide open, but don't rely on them. You're really going to be picking and choosing what you block. But you're just primarily worried about physical because of defensive burst and dashing punch and well maybe not so much dashing punch but other cards uh, that are hit effects or just taking stage beats to just really ruin you. We're trying to kill other decks AT. Got some decent anger control, got some anger, got some drill, recovery, got some combo. So there's a little bit all around. This is gonna be definitely a deck that you're gonna play on the numbers with if you try it out. Is it better than Adept? It's different. I don't even have I'll Dig a Grave in here. That's a card I would love to run. I can't tell you where I'd find the space for it right now. It's a pretty tight ship here. Um, you know, it's hard to run it. It's hard to fit it. Maybe you could find a spot for it. Maybe Orange Beatdown could just go, honestly. I could see that card going. Really, Anger does not matter that much in this deck. You really don't want to get off one too hard, so I could see actually Orange Beatdown. Actually, I could see Orange Beatdown going for I'll Dig a Grave would be a good change. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna do that right now. So pretend you should really do is Orange, or I'll Dig a Grave for Orange Beatdown, I think would be probably better. Probably the best here. 3 digs. I think I'm gonna change that right now. I'm still kind of like processing this deck, so I'm gonna hide it over here. But imagine there's 3 dig in here. I say that would be pretty good. All Devastating Blow would be really good too. Maybe a third stretch, maybe a third extension. Either way, you're just trying to go off on the level one for a bit. You really don't want to level with to the two right away. So again, maybe getting rid of this. What is cool is you can keep yourself on one longer by lowering your own anger with this, with the mastery, so that's pretty cool. So there's really not a ton of outright anger gain, but it's there if you want to level. So again, just some thoughts on this. Like I said, Digger Gray should probably go over Beatdown. Otherwise, pretty decent. Maybe Devastating Blow for some more anti-anger. Again, we got a decent amount of anti-anger cards here. Snoozing Drill seems cool. I just couldn't find the space. Could see a Snoozing Drill over a third aggressive Sword Drill. Um, but again, we're just trying to build that advantage, get the right hands. Orange stare down with, stare down plus like a sword break. Completely could ruin somebody. Um, Orange saving kick's a cool card to think about too. So anyway, guys, maybe you'll think about this. Maybe this could get some wheels turning. Uh, maybe you have a build for this. Maybe Adept is still what you prefer because of the tutor. By all means, share your thoughts. I think this is gonna be an interesting list that I'm definitely gonna change up a bit. I'll play some games with it here and there, and maybe it could be a decent contender. It's definitely something that I think I would probably give a gauntlet test to. Why not? Like just to try to see like between this and depth, which one runs better, um, and go from there. But I definitely think this one's decent. It's at least a tier two Dabura choice. I think it's still better than running him in like Ruthless personally. Um, so take that as you will. Anyway, guys, take it easy. Peace.